Here are tonight's 8 players about to play for £20,000. Only one of them will walk away with the prize money. The rest will leave with nothing after their teammates vote them the weakest link.
Welcome to the weakest link. Any of the 8 people in the studio here tonight could win up to £20,000. They don't know each other, however. If they want the prize money, they'll have to work as a team. But 7 of them will leave with nothing, as round by round we lose the player voted the weakest link. Let's meet the team.
I'm Kareem, I'm 29 and an investment banker from London.
I'm Diane, I'm 55 and an advertising executive from Birmingham.
I'm Barry, I'm 41 and I'm an events organiser from Glasgow.
I'm Michelle, I'm 33 and I'm a sales assistant from Sheffield.
I'm Mike, I'm 50, I'm a marketing consultant from King's Lynn.
I'm Jill, I'm 71, I'm retired and I'm from Dartford.
I'm Gus, I'm 20 and I study TV production in Manchester.
I'm Mary, I'm 42, I'm the mum of 3 girls and I'm from Glasgow.
Now the rules. In each round the aim is to answer enough questions correctly to reach your £2,500 target within the time limit. The fastest way is to create a chain of 8 correct answers. Get your question wrong and you break the chain and you lose all the money in that chain. But if you say bank before the question is asked, the money is safe. However, you start a new chain from scratch. We'll begin with the person whose name is first alphabetically. That's you, Barry. Let's play the weakest link. The first question is for £50. Start the clock. Barry, what D are a series of events or images perceived in the mind during sleep?
Dreams.
Correct. Michelle, complete the title of this Scottish Highland sport. Tossing the what?
Caber.
Correct. Mike, which children's animated TV series about trains was narrated by Ringo Starr?
Thomas the Tank Engine.
Correct. Jill, what was the profession of Florence Nightingale during the Crimean War?
Nurse.
Correct.
Bank.
Gus, in food, which B is a long French stick of bread with a crispy crust?
Baguette.
Correct. Mary, a manicure is the cosmetic treatment of what part of the body?
The nails.
The hands. I'll accept fingernails. Karim, in the human body, what A is a small unused organ which shares its name with an addition to the end of a book?
Appendix.
Correct. Diane, in the UK, does the M1 motorway connect London and Lancashire or London and Yorkshire?
London and Lancashire.
London and Yorkshire. Barry, what type of games are cribbage and patience?
Card games.
Correct. Michelle, which Disney film featured the characters Shere Khan and King Louis?
The Jungle Book.
Correct. Mike, is the state of California on the east or west of the USA?
West.
Correct. Jill,
Bang.
in the children's nursery rhyme, the black sheep had how many bags of wool?
3.
Correct. Gus, what was the name of Elizabeth Gaskell's last novel? Wives and Daughters or Sons and Daughters?
Sons and Daughters.
Wives and Daughters. Mary, which animal related to mice are famed for their sleepiness and take their name from the Latin for sleep?
Dormouse.
Correct. Karim, what ale is the name given to the domesticated pack animal of the camel family found in the Andes, which is valued for its soft, woolly fleece?
Llama.
Correct. Diane, name the German female tennis player who is the only person to have won all 4 Grand Slam events and gold at the Olympics in the same year.
Martina Navratilova.
Steffi Graf. Barry, in fashion, what S is a high, narrow shoe heel which originated in Italy during the 1950s?
Stiletto.
Correct. Michelle, according to custom, a white flower is considered lucky or unlucky to take her to hospital?
Unlucky.
Correct. Mike, what character did actor Larry Hagman play in the US TV soap Dallas?
J.R. Ewing.
Correct. Jill, in the animal kingdom, what A is another name for a donkey?
Ass.
Correct.
Bank.
Gus, what does the organisation ASH campaign to prevent?
Don't know.
Smoking. Mary, in food, what O is an egg that is whisked and then fried?
Omelette.
Correct. Karim, complete the title of this 1962 film starring Bette Davis. Whatever happened to baby?
Jane.
Correct. Diane, what C is a root vegetable that was first introduced to Britain in the 15th century?
Carrot.
Correct. Barry, in maths, what is the square root of 25?
5.
Correct. Michelle,
Bank.
popular in the 1870s, what were penny farthings?
Bicycles.
Correct. Mike. Time is up, and in that first round, team, You managed to put into your bank £1,400. You could, of course, have won £2,500. The question is, who is already looking like a severe liability? Who's costing you money? Or, if you like, who's too stupid to stay? One of you is about to leave with nothing. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
After the first round, Michelle is the strongest player. The weakest player is Diane, who answered 2 of her questions incorrectly, but she did bank money for the team. But will the voting follow the facts?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Diane.
Gus.
Diane.
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 Gus.
Diane.
Diane.
Gus, what do you do?
I'm a student, TV production.
TV production.
That's right.
And what are you hoping to be when you grow up, Gus?
When I grow up, director.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you read?
I can, yes.
Do you think it might be helpful if you knew the difference between a classic 19th century English novelist and a trashy soap from the 80s?
I guess it could help.
What's Diane done to upset you?
I thought she had an equally appalling round.
That's wrong. She was slightly worse than you.
She was worse than me.
Yeah. But there's plenty of time. Karim, how did it go for you?
Not too bad first time out.
Right. Wanted to get rid of Diane, did you?
Well, it was close between her and Gus, and unfortunately I think they both got 2 wrong, but Gus seemed to bank more money than Diane did, so...
Of course, you being a banker would notice. Dan, are you a member of any clubs?
Mensa.
What's that?
It's a it's a club for highly intelligent people.
Well, that's all the explanation we need. With 6 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I feel absolutely, totally embarrassed about being voted off first in the round. It was my worst nightmare come true. I think possibly Gus might be the next one to go because of his youth, really. He hasn't got a very wide range of general knowledge.
Round 2, you've won £1,400 so far out of a possible £2,500. There are 7 players left. You have voted off the member of the team who's a member of Mensa, but the good news is you've still got Gus, who's going to be in television when he grows up. We are now taking 10 seconds off the clock. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's you, Michelle. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Michelle, the name of which animal means river horse?
A hippopotamus.
Correct, Mike. In which children's TV cartoon did a secret agent mouse, voiced by David Jason, have a sidekick voiced by Terry Scott?
Danger Mouse.
Correct, Jill. Which German city is associated with the legend of the Pied Piper?
Hamelin.
Correct, Gus. In food, what is the name of the thin, crisp biscuit that is served with ice cream?
Wafer.
Correct, Mary. In the human body, which 12 pairs of bones protect the lungs and heart?
The ribs.
Correct. Karim, what was the writer James Herriot's other profession?
Vet.
Correct, Barry.
Bank.
Which pop superstar dropped his name in favour of a symbol?
Prince.
Correct, Michelle. In food, which Italian phrase meaning to the tooth can be used to describe pasta cooked only until it offers a slight resistance when bitten?
Al dente.
Correct, Mike. In nature, what F is the term applied to mushrooms, toadstools and moles?
Fungi.
Correct, Jill. What's the name of the female character played by Australian actor Barry Humphries, who he calls a housewife superstar?
Dame Edna Everett.
Correct, Gus. Which toxic gas produced in car exhaust has the chemical formula CO?
Carbon monoxide.
Correct, Mary. In Cockney rhyming slang, what is known as a syrup?
A wig.
Correct. Karim, in photography, what T is the name given to a 3-legged camera stand?
Tripod.
Correct, Barry. In 1977, Burt Reynolds starred as a lovable outlaw in the first of a series of films entitled Smokey and the What?
Bandit.
Correct, Michelle. In maths, what is half of 110?
55.
Correct, Mike. The early life of which Lord Mayor of London is often portrayed in pantomime?
Dick Whittington.
Correct, Jill.
Bang.
What name is the name of the international prizes that were first awarded in 1901?
Oscar.
Nobel. Gus, in film, which American actress is famous for her roles in Sister Act and Ghost?
Can't remember.
Whoopi Goldberg. Mary, in the animal kingdom, is the polar bear a carnivore or a herbivore?
A carnivore.
Correct. Karim, what is the capital city of Germany?
Berlin.
Correct. Barry.
Bank.
Okay, you've reached and banked your 2,500 target, and that money will go through to the next round. But of course, one of you will not. Remember, you'll have 10 seconds less in the next round. So, you need to streamline the team and lose the player least likely to encourage that bank balance to go higher and higher. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
This time, Barry is the strongest link, having answered all of his questions correctly and banking £1,700 for the team. The weakest player is Jill, but will the other players have picked up on this?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Gus.
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 Jill.
Gus.
Jill. Never heard of the Nobel Prize?
I think that was fairly pathetic.
Why Gus?
I thought he was a little bit worse than me, and he hesitated.
He wasn't a little bit worse than you, actually. Jill, you were a little bit worse than him. Gus, what are your hobbies?
Film.
Right. So were you trying not to show off, do you think, when you said you didn't know who Whoopi Goldberg was?
It was on the tip of my tongue.
Was
Just
it?
couldn't get it. Just
Yeah.
couldn't get it.
It stayed on the tip of your tongue, didn't it? Never came out.
I'm afraid so.
Right. You weren't the weakest link statistically. Jill was. She got away with it with 6 votes. The team have voted you the weakest link. Goodbye.
I'm very disappointed about being voted off in the last round. I think Jill should have gone instead of me. I know I answered a few questions wrong, but I certainly wasn't the weakest player. Some of the stuff that Anne Robinson said to me was quite personal, and I'm going to be satisfied with the fact that in 10 years I know I'm going to be directing her. Let's see how she likes that one.
Round 3. So far, you've won £3,900. You could have won £5,000. You're down to 6 players. You've got rid of the member of Mensa and the person who's learning to be in television production, so it should be plain sailing from now onwards. We're taking another 10 seconds off the clock. We start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Barry. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Barry, how many feet are there in 3 yards?
9.
Correct. Michelle, what was the name of the famous rock festival held in New York State in 1969?
Woodstock.
Correct. Mike, Adolf Fick invented which optical aid in 1887?
Microscope.
Contact lens. Jill, in the animal kingdom, which runs faster, the emu or the ostrich?
The ostrich.
Correct. Mary, which famous Elizabethan theatre in Southwark was rebuilt and opened in 1996 near its original site?
Pass.
The Globe Theatre. Karim, in nature, which sea is a case that protects butterflies and moths as they change from larvae into adults?
Cocoon.
Correct. Barry, in the 1980 film The Elephant Man, which Welsh actor played the part of Dr. Frederick Treves?
Anthony Hopkins.
Correct. Michelle, in the animal kingdom, is there such a thing as a snapping turtle?
Yes.
Correct. Mike, in art, in which century was the Cubist movement founded?
20th.
Correct. Jill.
Bang.
What F is the word used to describe abstinence observed by followers of various religions during Yom Kippur, Ramadan and Lent?
Fasting.
Correct. Mary, was the Blue Danube Waltz, written by Johann Strauss, first performed in Vienna or Berlin?
Vienna.
Correct. Karim, Wish You Were Here was a 1975 album made by which British rock band?
Pink Floyd.
Correct. Barry, in nature, what O is a type of farming opposed to the use of synthetic fertilizers and pesticides?
Organic.
Correct. Michelle.
Bank.
Which Batman star was born Michael Douglas and therefore had to change his name?
Michael Keaton.
Correct. Mike, what type of medieval weapon fires a bolt or quarrel?
Crossbow.
Correct. Jill, in medicine, peptic, duodenal and gastric are all types of which condition?
Ulcer.
Correct. Mary, in literature, which author wrote Murder at the Vicarage in 1930?
Agatha Christie.
Correct. Kareem, in the animal kingdom, does a tarantula spin a web?
No.
Correct. Barry, who was Edmund Hillary's guide when he became the first man to reach the summit of Everest in 1953?
Tenzing.
Correct. Michelle.
Bang.
In which comics did Spider-Man and the X-Men first appear? DC Comics or Marvel Comics?
DC.
Marvel. Mike, in geology, what E are the... Time is up. I cannot complete the question. And in that round, you banked a disappointing £1,400. And it is disappointing because you only answered 3 questions incorrectly. Remember, you have to be ruthless to be rich. One of you is about to leave with nothing. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
For the second time, Barry is the strongest link, having answered all of his questions correctly again. The weakest link is Mike, although he only answered 1 question incorrectly. So who will lose out in the voting?
Voting over. It's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Jill.
Mike.
Jill.
Mary.
Kareem.
Michelle.
Kareem. Why Jill?
Well, I think it was close. Unfortunately, I think Mike, Jill and Mary all got 1 question wrong each. But Jill in the previous rounds, and seeing how she's voted for me, I'm glad I did now.
Michelle.
Yes.
Why Jill?
Well, same thing again. There was people only got 1 wrong, but going by previous rounds, she'd been the weakest link once, so I thought I better had.
She didn't actually get any questions wrong in that round, team.
Oh.
She certainly wasn't the weakest link. Was she, Mike?
If you say so.
Who do you think was the weakest link?
I should think...
Statistically.
Statistically, probably me.
Not probably, definitely.
Has to be right.
But it's votes that count. Jill, with 2 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I'm not quite sure who'll be voted off next. It might be Mary, because I think she's the weaker of the 2 girls, and I think the boys might vote her off. I understand why they voted me off, because I did make a rather poor effort on one of my questions in the round before.
Round 4, you've banked £5,300 so far out of potential prize money of £7,500. 5 of you left. We are taking another 10 seconds off the clock. You now have only 2 minutes. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Barry. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Barry, which Clare was first elected Labour MP for Birmingham Ladywood in 1983?
Short.
Correct. Michelle, in sport, which Scottish city has football teams nicknamed the Jam Tarts and Hibs?
Hibernia.
Edinburgh. Mike, which spiky-haired violinist took Vivaldi's 4 Seasons to #1 in the UK classical album charts in 1989?
Nigel Kennedy.
Correct. Mary, in human biology, where in the body is the aqueous humour?
In the eye.
Correct. Kareem, singer Mick Hucknall is a member of which pop group?
Simply Red.
Correct. Barry, what type of baby clothing was first introduced in 1949 in Britain?
Nappies, disposable nappies.
Correct. Michelle, how many pence are there in £100?
How many pence? 1,000.
10,000. Mike, which country derives its name from that of the Aztec war god Mexicli?
Mexico.
Correct. Mary, in sport, did Jonathan Davis play rugby union, rugby league or both?
Both.
Correct. Kareem, which boy's name can be placed before knife, pot and hammer to make new words?
Jack.
Correct. Barry, which British fashion designer, the daughter of a former Beatle, launched her own fashion label in the same year as she graduated from St Martin's College in 1995?
Stella McCartney.
Correct. Michelle.
Bang.
What F is commonly a unit of water depth measurement, originally the distance between a man's fingertip with arms outstretched?
Fathom.
Correct. Mike, which G is the study of family origins and ancestral history?
Genealogy.
Correct. Mary, in classical music, which ensemble has more players, a symphony orchestra or a chamber orchestra?
Symphony.
Correct. Karine.
Bank.
Givenchy or Dior designed costumes for the film Breakfast at Tiffany's?
Dior.
Givenchy. Barry. Welshman Leighton Rees became which pub sport's first world professional champion in 1978?
Darts.
Correct. Michelle. What L is a small European state near Switzerland which did not give women the vote until 1984?
Liechtenstein.
Correct. Mike.
Bank.
Which town in the UK has the larger population, Reading or Swindon?
Swindon.
Correct, Mary. In snooker, if you potted the following balls in the correct order, how many points would you score? Time is up. I cannot complete the question. And again, you answered only 3 questions incorrectly. Nevertheless, you only scraped together £1,300. Now remember, he who hesitates needs to be given the he-ho. She who dithers, ditch. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
In a dramatic reversal of fortune, the strongest player is Mike, who answered all of his questions correctly and banked money for the team. Michelle is the weakest link statistically, with 2 incorrect answers. But will the others have noticed this?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Michelle.
Michelle.
Kareem.
Michelle.
Michelle.
Mary, why Michelle?
She had a couple wrong in a row, so I'm afraid she's got to go.
Okay. Mike, why Michelle?
She didn't take care of her pennies.
What do you do, Michelle?
I work in a shop.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
And you give out change?
Well, not 100,000 pennies worth, no.
Just as well. Well, it's a pity you can't add up, because statistically you were the worst player. With 4 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I think the hardest thing about playing the weakest link is that you're so aware that if you get 1 question wrong, that is you done for. And the standard is so high that as soon as you make 1 mistake, that's it.
Round 5, your total is £6,600 so far. If you'd hit your target, it would be £10,000. 4 of you left, another 10 seconds coming off the time. We start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Mike. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Mike, what construction toy was invented in 1955 whose name derives from the Danish term meaning to play well?
Tonka.
Lego. Mary, in what year did evacuations of children out of major cities and towns begin in Britain at the outbreak of hostilities with the Second World War?
1940.
1939. Kareem, in Australia, what type of animal is a bandicoot, a marsupial or a lizard?
Marsupial.
Correct, Barry. Which C is a musical term meaning gradually getting louder?
Crescendo.
Correct, Mike. The members of which religion are followers of the Eightfold Path?
Mormons.
Buddhism. Mary, in sport, what is the name of the target in curling, a tee or a bullseye?
Bullseye.
A tee. Kareem, in film, in which decade was the Fellini movie La Dolce Vita released?
1930s.
60s. Barry, in medicine, what T is a name given to a transfer of tissue or an organ from one human being to another?
Transplant.
Correct, Mike. In folklore, how many leaves does a lucky clover have?
4.
Correct, Mary. In biology, is meiosis a type of cell joining or cell division?
Cell division.
Correct. Kareem, who
Mike.
wrote the classic novel Far from the Madding Crowd?
Pass.
Thomas Hardy. Barry, what S is a variety of beer made from heavily roasted malts?
Stout.
Correct, Mike. What was the name of the American TV science fiction series of the 1990s in which the character Samuel Beckett would jump into the lives of different people?
Quantum Leap.
Quantum Leap, correct. Mary, what is the UK politician Mo Molan's actual first name?
Maureen.
Marjorie. Kareem, which Russian leader eliminated all opposition between 1936 and 1938 in what became known as the Great Purge?
Stalin.
Correct, Barry. In
Aye.
music, which famous American family pop group achieved hits with I Want You Back and ABC?
Dysons.
The Jackson 5. Mike. Time is up. And in that round, you banked a pathetic £250, who is very clearly beginning to wilt. Who would you be better off without? Dunces have no place on the team. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
For the 3rd time, Barry is the strongest player. Mary is the weakest link, having answered 3 of her questions incorrectly. But who will lose out in the voting this time round?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Mike.
Mike.
Mary.
Mike.
Barry, why Mike?
I'm afraid he had the weakest round of the players there.
He wasn't the weakest link, was he, Mary?
No.
Why Mike?
Well, he voted for me, and that was...
That's a very good reason. Mike, there's 3 votes. You are the weakest link. Bye.
Barry and Mary both come from Glasgow. Now, maybe it's a little bit of Scottish pride coming there, and they're deciding to play strategically. Mary's lovely, but I think she will be the next one.
Round 6, you have £6,850 in the bank out of the £12,500 you could have won. 3 of you left, another 10 seconds off the clock. We start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Barry. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Barry, in which UK country would you find Midlothian Unitary Authority?
Scotland.
Correct. Mary, in politics, who introduced the Citizens' Charter? Margaret Thatcher, John Major or Tony Blair?
John Major.
Correct. Karim, which Indian city has been nicknamed Bollywood?
Bombay.
Correct. Barry, in literature, Titania is a character from which Shakespeare play?
Midsummer Night's Dream.
Correct. Mary, in sport, which year saw the first cricket test match held between England and Australia in Melbourne, 1860 or 1877?
1877.
Correct. Karim, which European capital city is known as Moskva in its native language?
Moscow.
Correct. Barry, in medicine, what O is a complementary practice involving treatment of many joint and muscular disorders by manipulation and massage?
Osteopathy.
Correct. Mary, did Prokofiev compose the music for the opera Love for Three Peaches or Love for Three Oranges?
Love for Three Peaches.
No, oranges. Karim, in the Bible, who was the father of Esau and Jacob?
Abraham.
Isaac. Barry, in the USA, in which state would you find Chicago and Rockford?
Illinois.
Correct. Mary, which photographic technique first demonstrated in 1963 employs laser to obtain a 3-dimensional image?
Holograms.
Correct. Karim, what 24-hour car race was first staged in France in 1923?
Le Mans.
Correct. Barry,
Bang.
from which continent are the Maasai, Mason and Matabele
Africa.
tribes? Correct. Mary, in mythology, what nationality was hero Finn McCool?
Scottish.
Irish. Karim, in chemistry, liquefaction is the process of converting what into liquid?
Solids.
Gas. Barry, in which British university city would you find the Bodleian Library and Christopher Wren's Hildonian Theatre? Correct. In that round, you did slightly better than the last round, but not magnificently by any means. £700 you put in the kitty. Now, in round 7, you get the chance to double what you bank, and that means in the next round, there's £5,000 to be won. The question is, who should go? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Barry is the strongest link for the 4th time, having answered every question correctly. Karim is the weakest link statistically. But at this crucial stage of the game, how will the voting go?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Mary.
Karim.
Karim.
Mary, you don't think a Clever Clogs banker will be any use in the final?
Well, I couldn't really vote for Barry because he's not put a step wrong the whole way. I couldn't do it.
Barry, why Karim? You didn't want another bloke with you in the final?
No, I really couldn't have told you which was the weaker in the last round, and we've got a Celtic solidarity, I suppose. But if there'd been anything clear to choose, I would have chosen for the weakest.
Karim, you told us you had an MA in chemistry. Was that a little joke?
No, that was true.
Really? How is it you don't know what liquefaction is?
I should have known. I got it wrong.
Right. Well, statistically, you were the worst player. And with 2 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Obviously, I'm disappointed to have been voted out second to last, but I'm not so bothered about it. At the end of the day, 7,000 quid, great night out with the boys, but I'll live. Yeah, I think at the end, Barry said that he'd sided with the Glaswegians. I was unlucky. If I'd had a slightly Scottish accent, maybe I'd have done a bit better.
Round 7, you've won £7,550 so far. You could, of course, by now have won £15,000. Barry and Mary, just the two of you left. You've voted off absolutely everybody else who isn't from Glasgow. This time you have 90 seconds, but whatever you win in this round will be doubled and added to your total to make up your final prize money. £5,000 is at stake in this round. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Barry. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Barry, if there are 11 French francs to the pound, how many francs are there in £20?
220.
Correct. Mary, in UK politics, for which party was Tony Banks elected MP for West Ham in 1997?
Labour.
Correct. Barry, from October to December 2000, the England cricket team toured which country for the first time in 13 years?
Pakistan.
Correct. Mary, in nature, what atom is a thin barrier made up of lipid and protein molecules separating the cell contents from its surroundings?
Then... pass.
Membrane. Barry, in music, what is the English name of the Welsh national anthem?
Land of our fathers.
Land of my fathers. Mary, associated with the story of Moses, what bee is the popular alternative name of the plant, the reed mace?
Bulrushes.
Correct. Barry, what is the central bank of the United Kingdom?
Bank of England.
Correct. Mary, what is the name of the dry desert-like planet in Frank Herbert's best-selling science fiction novel, which was made into a film featuring Sting in 1984?
Pass.
Dune. Barry, which children's television show is set in Pontypandy?
Diver the Engine.
Fireman Sam. Mary, which pop singer's 100th single was called The Best of Me and was released in 1989?
Cliff Richards.
Correct. Barry, the name of which country is derived from that of Italian explorer Amerigo Vespucci?
America.
Correct. Mary, in literature, Sarah Woodlands, whose woman according to the title of John... Time is up. We're not completely daft. You can't bank after the start of the question, and you hear the music for the final moments. You didn't make it to £2,500. You won £200. Never mind, we'll double that and add it to the winnings from the previous rounds. That means total prize money this evening of £7,950. But of course, only one of you can take that money away. So now you will be playing against each other head to head. I'll ask alternate questions. It's the best of 5. Whoever answers the most correctly wins. It's as simple as that. If there's a tie after 5, we'll go for sudden death until we have a winner. So, Barry and Mary from Glasgow with £7,950. Let's play the weakest link. Barry, as the strongest link in the last round, you have the choice of who goes first.
I'll go first, please.
Barry, in literature, of which gruff animal in Kenneth Grahame's The Wind in the Willows does Ratty say he simply hates society?
Toad of Toad Hall.
The correct answer is badger. Mary, in Greek mythology, which epic poem tells of the wrath of Achilles at the siege of Troy?
Is it the Ulysses?
No, the correct answer is the Iliad. Barry, which style of hat was made popular by US President Theodore Roosevelt on a tour of Central America in 1906?
Stetson.
The correct answer is the Panama. Mary, in marine life, which is the largest of the flat fishes?
The manta ray.
The correct answer is halibut. Barry, how many stars are there on the Australian flag?
Five.
Correct answer is 6. Mary, where specifically in the human head would you find the masseter muscle?
behind the ear.
Correct answer is jaw. Barry. Which British astronomer, famous for the comet named after him, devised one of the first practical diving bells in 1717?
Halley.
That is the correct answer, Edmund Halley. Mary, to draw level. In science, how many tons are there in a megaton?
1 million.
That is the correct answer. Barry. In religion, in which country was Barbara Harris consecrated as the first female bishop of the Anglican Church?
USA.
That is the correct answer. Mary, you need to answer this question correctly to stay in the game. Mary, which Teletubby has a triangle on his head?
Tinky Winky.
That is the correct answer. Okay, after 5 questions each, we have a tie. We now go into a sudden death situation. The questions will continue in pairs. Barry, if you get your question correct, then Mary will have to answer hers correctly, or she'll lose. And Barry, if you get your question wrong, then Mary will have to answer hers correctly to win. So, Barry and Mary, let's play sudden death. Barry. Who was British Home Secretary in 1995 when 3 prisoners escaped from Parkhurst High Security Prison?
Michael Heseltine.
The correct answer is Michael Howard. Mary, if you answer this question correctly, you have won. So, for £7,950, name the location in Tombstone, Arizona, where in 1881, Wyatt Earp and his 3 brothers took part in a famous gunfight.
The OK Corral?
That is the correct answer. That means, Mary, you are tonight's strongest link and you go away with £7,950. Barry, you leave with nothing. Join us again for the weakest link. Goodbye.
Well, I'm disappointed not to have won, but I'm very pleased for Mary.
I'm so happy.
If she can face triumph and disaster and treat both imposters the same, then you'll be a man, and that's how you've got to play the game.
I'm so chuffed that it's just not true. I thought I was just going to die.
If I'd gone second, I would have known the OK Corral, but I certainly wouldn't have known Tinky Winky.
It's an awful lot of money, and it's going to make such a difference.